I want you to close your eyes for a second. Seriously, just humor me. Imagine you're standing in a room. It's freezing cold.
Okay.
The lighting is harsh, fluorescent white, and the only sound you hear is hum, a low mechanical drum.
Yeah, I can picture that.
That is the sound of a server farm. It is thousands of cooling fans spinning in the dark, keeping rows and rows of processors from overheating. That cold, sterile room. That is where the music we talked about in our last deep dive AI music is born.
It's born in the cold. It's born in the math. It's the sound of calculation.
Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
snap your fingers. The hum is gone. The cold is gone. Suddenly the air is hot. It's thick. It smells like stale beer, sweat, and ozone.
Ugh, yeah, I know that smell.
The floor is sticky. And there's a sound coming from the other side of a black curtain that hits you right in the chest. It's a roar.
A crowd.
It's a crowd, and they're impatient.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you.
That is a completely different universe, a total 180.
That is the shift. That is what we are doing today. We're moving from the generation phase, sitting at a comfortable desk, typing prompts into a text box, to the execution phase. The prompt for this deep dive is terrifyingly simple. You made the song, now make it scream.
Make it scream. I like that. It sets the stakes immediately.
It has to.
Yeah. If our last discussion was the philosophical foundation AI as the new punk rock, this is the physical manifestation. It's the ghost in the machine stepping out of the box and grabbing the microphone.
And looking at the stack of research articles and history you've brought to the table today, this is clearly not a tutorial. We aren't going to talk about which settings to tweak in Midjourney or how to format a prompt for Suno.
No. This reads more like a manifesto.
It does.
It has to be. The sources are arguing for something pretty radical. They're saying that the current state of AI music generating files and uploading them to Spotify is incomplete. It's passive. The sources are calling for us to take these floating signifiers, and don't worry, we are absolutely going to unpack that term and anchor them to a human moment.
Because right now, there's this massive tension, right? On one side, you have passive listening, the background playlist, the lo-fi beats to study to.
Right.
On the other side, you have active engagement. And you found some data from the NeuroLive project that suggests this isn't just a vibe, it's biology. Live performance does something to the human brain that a recording simply cannot do.
It creates a biological synchronization. We are definitely going to get into the neuroscience of delta band synchrony later, but the headline is this. The soul of music isn't in the composition. It's not in the file you downloaded.
Where is it then?
It is in the risk of the live stage.
I love that. The risk.
Yeah.
The possibility that it could all just go wrong.
Precisely. It's the transition from being a bedroom producer to what some researchers are now calling the sovereign conductor.
The sovereign conductor. That sounds powerful.
Yeah.
But before we get to the future, before we talk about conducting algorithms in real time, we have to look back.
We have to.
Because I think a lot of people feel like this fear, this tension between machines and musicians is new. They think ChatGPT invented this anxiety.
Oh, not at all. Not even close. We are definitely not the first generation to be told that our machines are killing real music.
Which is why we need to talk about the man I'm calling the patron saint of this entire movement.
Don Lewis.
Don Lewis.
This story, honestly, the more I dug into it, the more heartbreaking and infuriating it became. But it's also just incredibly inspiring.
So set the scene for us. Who is Don Lewis?
Don Lewis was a genius. I mean, there is no other word for it. He was an electronic engineer, a vocalist, a multi-instrumentalist. In the early 70s, he looked at the landscape of synthesizers. You had ARPs, Moogs, Oberheims, and they were all separate units.
Right, they were all islands.
Exactly. You couldn't really play them all together comfortably.
And they were monophonic. Right. One note at a time, mostly.
Mostly, yes. And they didn't talk to each other. MIDI, the language that lets digital instruments connect, that wouldn't be invented for another 10 years.
A full decade.
So in 1974, Lewis builds this thing. He calls it the LEO, the Live Electronic Orchestra.
And he built it himself.
Wow.
From scratch.
Built it. Engineered it. It was this massive, incredible rig. He created a custom integrated sound controller that linked all these analog synths together. It allowed him to play the bass line, the chords, the lead, and the drums all at the same time.
So he was a one-man philharmonic.
A one-man orchestra. He could sit down and create these huge, layered soundscapes all by himself.
So he's on stage, surrounded by wires and keyboards, sounding like a 20-piece band, which must have been in high demand.
He was. I mean, he was working with legends, Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, the Beach Boys. He was a virtuoso.
So what happened?
He hit a wall. And it wasn't a technical wall, it was a political one.
The Musicians Union.
The American Federation of Musicians. And this is where the parallel to today just hits you in the face. In the 1980s, the union didn't just frown upon him, they labeled Don Lewis a national enemy.
Wait, hold on. A national enemy? That sounds extreme.
It was. They didn't just disagree with him, they declared war on him.
So what did that look like? Are we talking about actual protests, like picketing?
Full picket lines. I want you to imagine you are Don Lewis. You show up to play a gig at the Hyatt Regency in Oakland. It's 1984. You've got your gear, you've got your LEO, you're ready to play.
Oh.
And outside the door, there are people, your peers, other musicians holding signs. And the signs don't say, down with technology. They say, non-union musician, unfair. They were protesting him personally.
That's incredibly isolating. He wasn't some suit in a boardroom cutting checks. He was a musician. He was an artist.
He was a pioneer. But the union label was national enemy. Not competitor, not stab, enemy. They terrified the club owners. They basically said, if you book Lewis and his machine, we will pull every other act. You won't get a horn section, you won't get a drummer, you won't get anyone.
Wow.
So the bookings just, they evaporated.
Or blackballed him.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
He was banned from the club circuit. He had to put the LEO in storage. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
You build the future of music, this thing that's an extension of your own body and mind, and you have to put it in a warehouse because the present is too scared of it.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So what did he do? Did he just give up?
He pivoted. He went into sound design. And the irony here is just, it's so rich. He actually contributed to the factory presets for the Yamaha DX7 and the Roland TR-808.
Wait, the 808? The drum machine that is on basically every hip-hop record ever made, that 808?
The very same. The machine that eventually replaced more drummers than Don Lewis ever could have on his own.
Yeah.
But his live career, his moment on stage, it was stifled, crushed.
All because he was too efficient. Because he represented a shift in labor.
Exactly. They thought, if one guy can sound like a 20-piece band, what happens to the other 19 people?
Which is the exact same question people are screaming in the comment section of every AI music video right now.
The very same.
This is slop. This is theft. You are killing the industry.
It is the exact same anxiety. But Lewis had a different perspective on it. He didn't see the LEO as a replacement. He saw it as a musical extension of himself.
An extension. Like a different kind of guitar.
Precisely. He said the technology was there to add color in the orchestration. He was conducting the machine, but the institution, they couldn't see past the displacement.
And it wasn't just Lewis, was it? This was a widespread fear. You found this other snippet from the archives about the British Musicians Union in 1982. This is almost too perfect to be true.
Oh, yeah. May 1982. The British Musicians Union passed a resolution to ban synthesizers and drum machines from live performance entirely.
A total ban. Thou shalt not beep or boop.
And do you know who the catalyst was? The straw that broke the camel's back?
Huh?
Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow started the robot uprising. I find that very hard to believe.
In a way, he did. He used synthesizers to simulate a big band string section on tour because, well, it was cheaper than bringing a full orchestra on the road.
Okay, that makes sense from a budget perspective.
But the union panicked. They saw it as the beginning of the end. So they passed this motion to ban electronic devices capable of recreating the sounds of conventional musical instruments.
And the cherry on top. The beautiful, ironic cherry.
They passed this resolution on May 23rd, 1982, which just so happened to be Bob Moog's birthday, the inventor of the synthesizer.
You cannot make that up. They tried to kill the synth on Moog's birthday.
It's poetry, isn't it? But here's the lesson for the modern AI creator listening to this. They didn't just ban the tool, they tried to ban the artist's right to exist as an artist using that tool.
That's the core of it.
Today, the fear is about the Velvet Sundown, these fake AI bands flooding Spotify with generic jazz. But the answer, according to our sources, isn't to hide. It's the opposite. The sovereign performer integrates the machine into the self.
We don't ask for permission anymore.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the present, to the sovereign stage. We've established the history of rebellion. Now let's talk about the philosophy. Why does taking AI music, which, lives on a hard drive, and putting it on a stage, why does that change anything? Why does it matter?
This brings us to a concept from one of our academic sources called floating signifiers.
Okay, let's unpack this. Floating signifiers.
Yeah.
It sounds like something from a grad school semiotics textbook.
It is, but stick with me. It's actually a really powerful idea. So AI music, by its nature, is generated from these vast data sets, right?
Right.
It creates a song based on patterns, billions of parameters, but that song doesn't have a specific human intent behind its origin. It doesn't have a mother or a father in the traditional sense. It's unmoored.
It floats.
It floats. It's the ghost without a shell. It's a statistic that sounds like a melody.
Okay.
And the source uses a really brilliant analogy here, the Euro banknote.
The Euro Banknote. Okay, walk me through this. Why the euro?
Think about a euro coin. On one side, it has the value. On the other side, it has a national design, a harp for Ireland, an eagle for Germany.
It has an origin. It comes from somewhere.
Exactly, it has a home. But the euro banknote, the paper money.
It just has bridges, right? And like arches.
Right, but look closely at those bridges. They aren't real.
Wait, they're not.
No, they feature generic architectural styles from different periods, Gothic, Romanesque, modern, but they are fictional. They are bridges that don't exist in the real world. They are designed to be anywhere currency.
So AI music is the Euro Banknote. It has value, it sounds good, it works as currency, but it's from nowhere.
Precisely. It features the architecture of a jazz song or a metal song, but it doesn't have the history of that specific place. It lacks a specific origin point.
I get the metaphor, but I want to push back on that a little. I mean, if I prompt an AI to write a jazz song, it's pulling from jazz history. It's pulling from New Orleans, from Chicago. It's not really nowhere.
It pulls from the data of those places. That's a crucial distinction. But does the file itself have a memory of walking down a street in Chicago? Does it have the memory of the humidity in New Orleans? Does it have the memory of a breakup that inspired the chord change? No. It has the pattern, but not the place. It has the map, not the territory. That's the difference. That's why it is a floating signifier.
Okay, that makes sense. It's mimicry without memory. So how do we fix that? How do we give it a home?
You anchor it. When you play that AI track live, when you perform it with your body in a real space, you become the origin.
You become the bridge, the real bridge.
You give it sweat, you give it a specific moment in time, Tuesday night, 10 p.m., this specific venue, this specific crowd. You give it a history.
So the audience isn't just hearing a generated file anymore.
No, they are witnessing a human wrestling with that file. They're seeing the struggle, the joy, the mistakes.
That distinction is huge. It moves us from ventriloquism, where the AI is just mimicking a dead artist, like those lost tapes of the 27 Club that came out a while ago.
Right, which feels a bit ghoulish.
To cyborg semiotics.
Exactly. We want the cyborg. We want to see the human intent tethered to the machine's output. We don't want the machine pretending to be human on its own.
Yeah.
We want the struggle. We want the collaboration.
And this isn't just high-minded philosophy. This is biology. We touched on this in the intro, but the NeuroLive project and the neuroscience data you have here is honestly kind of shocking.
It really is.
They found something called delta band synchrony.
This is the scientific why behind that feeling you get at a great concert.
Yep.
They hooked audiences up to EEG machines to see what happens when they watch live music versus recorded music.
So they're literally watching their brains.
And they found that when people watch a live performance together, their brain waves literally synchronize in the delta band.
Okay, pause. I failed biology. I thought delta waves were what happened when you're in a deep coma or deep sleep. If an audience is in delta, aren't they just asleep?
That's the common misconception, and it's a good question. Yes, high delta usually means deep sleep, but in a social context, like a concert, it represents something totally different. It's a kind of shared focus or collective attention.
Okay.
Think of it less like sleep and more like, have you ever been in a conversation so deep that the rest of the room just disappears?
Sure. The tunnel vision thing.
That. But imagine 1,000 people entering that tunnel at the exact same millisecond. That is delta synchrony. It's not falling asleep, it's locking in. It is a deep subconscious connection to the group and to the performer.
And this doesn't happen with recordings at all.
No. The synchrony drops significantly when you watch a recording of the same performance, even if you are watching that recording with other people in the same room.
So the physical presence of the performer is the key variable.
It is the closed loop mechanism. Live music is bidirectional. It's a two-way street. The audience affects the performer, who then affects the audience, and on and on.
It's a feedback loop.
A biological one. The study showed that when a performer makes direct eye contact with the crowd, that neural synchrony spikes.
You can't get eye contact from a Spotify stream.
No. And physiologically, it goes even deeper. Audience heart rates entrain to the tempo in live settings. Skin conductance, which is basically how much you sweat from excitement or arousal, peaks higher and more frequently.
Wow.
There is a measurable biological life premium. The soul of music, according to this research, isn't some metaphysical concept. It is a neurophysiological state shared between a crowd and a performer in a specific time and place.
That is the validation every garage band and now every AI artist needs.
Yeah.
You aren't just making noise up there. You are literally engineering a biological state.
You are hacking their brains to sync up with yours. It's incredible.
So we know the history and we know the science. But I want to see this. I want to know what it looks like when you take this theory and put it on a stage with a subwoofer.
Yeah.
Because people are already doing this. This isn't theoretical anymore.
No, the technical revolution is happening right now as we speak. We have some incredible real-world examples of what we're calling the new virtuosity.
Okay, let's start with Rainier Zonneveld. This guy is a techno legend, huge in the scene. But he did something at his R² festival that sounds like straight-up science fiction.
He performed back-to-back with an AI clone of himself.
Back-to-back usually means two DJs taking turns playing tracks, right?
Right, usually a Zonneveld and another human DJ. But here, Zonneveld trained an AI on 2,000 hours of his own music and recordings from 1,000 of his live shows.
That is a massive amount of data.
It's his entire career, basically. He built a musical brain that mimics his style perfectly, and then he went on stage and played against it.
So the AI is improvising. It's not just a fancy playlist.
In real time. It's not playback. The AI is listening to what he plays, and then it responds with something in his style, and he has to respond back to the AI.
So it creates this tension.
A huge tension. It's a Turing test for the dance floor. Can the crowd tell who is dropping the beat, the human or the machine?
That is wild. It's like playing chess against a grandmaster computer. But the chessboard is a festival main stage, and if you lose, the crowd stops dancing.
And it validates that cyborg concept we were talking about. He isn't hiding the AI, he's dueling with it. He's making the conflict, the collaboration, visible and audible.
Okay, so from a techno duel, let's go to Holly Herndon. If Zonneveld is the techno warrior, Herndon is the philosopher queen of this space. She's been doing this for years.
Absolutely. Her project, Holly Plus, is fascinating because it deals with the most human instrument of all, the voice.
So how does Holly Plus work?
She trained a neural network on her own voice. It's a digital twin. Anyone can go to her website, upload some audio, and it will sing it back in Holly's voice.
I've tried it. It's eerie.
But she took it to the stage. She has performances where a male singer stands at the microphone singing his heart out, but the sound coming out of the speakers is Holly's voice, generated in real time.
That must create such a cognitive dissonance for the audience. You see one person, you hear another. It must be so disorienting.
That's the point. It's what she calls identity play. It forces you to question what you're seeing, what authorship means, what identity means. And she took it a step further with governance.
What do you mean, governance?
She created the Holly Plus DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a group of stewards, fans, and artists who actually vote on how her voice model is used commercially.
So it's distributed achievement. It's not just her voice anymore. It's a community asset.
It completely redefines the idea of the solo artist. She becomes a choir of human and machine governed by a community. It's radical.
Now, for something completely different, I want to talk about Algorove.
Algorave. Algorithmic rave, the best name.
The slogan for this scene is great. The code is the show. But for someone who has never been to one, paint the picture. What does it look like? What does it feel like?
Okay, imagine a dark club. Smoke machine is going. The bass is thumping, shaking your ribcage. But instead of a DJ standing there with headphones and a mixer, there's a person hunched over a laptop, typing furiously. And this is the crucial part. Their screen is projected onto the wall behind them. Huge. 20 feet tall.
So the audience is literally watching them write code?
They are watching the code that makes the music as it's being written. They see the syntax, they see the loops, the if this, then that. They see the architecture of the song being built from scratch.
That feels incredibly vulnerable. What if they make a typo?
That's the beauty of it. It's the blank slate approach. They often start with a totally blank screen, silence, and they type the first line, boom, a kick drum appears. They type the second line, tiss, a hi-hat. But if they miss a semicolon, the beat might stop.
Or glitch out.
Or it glitches. Or it completely crashes.
So the audience sees the mistake in real time.
They see the error message. And when the coder finds the bug, fixes it, and the beat drops back in, the crowd goes absolutely wild. It exposes the vulnerability of the creative process.
It was the complete opposite of a polished, pre-recorded set where the DJ is just jumping around and pressing play. This is high-wire acrobatics with code.
It embraces the slop but turns it into intent. It turns debugging into a performance art.
Okay, so from the high art of live coding to the other end of the spectrum, we have to talk about databots.
The AI death metal guys.
Saksakowski and CJ Carr.
Hmm.
These guys are brilliant. They set up a 247 YouTube stream called Relentless Doppelganger.
And the music is off. It's intense. Let's just say it's not for everyone.
It's AI-generated technical death metal, nonstop. They trained a neural net on the band Archspire.
Who are known for being insanely fast and technical.
But I have to ask, of all the genres to choose from, why technical death metal? Was it just because they liked the aesthetic? Or they wanted to be edgy?
You'd think so, right? It seems like an aesthetic choice, but it was actually a pure engineering decision.
An engineering decision. How?
It turns out neural networks, specifically the sampler N architecture they were using back then, are really bad at remembering things over long periods.
Okay, so they have a short attention span, like a goldfish.
A very, very short one. If you try to generate, say, a slow pop ballad where you have a verse, then a long pause, then a chorus, the AI forgets where it started. By the time it's supposed to generate the chorus, the audio just devolves into this ambient rhythmic soup.
It loses the plot.
It completely forgets it's supposed to be singing a song. But death metal, specifically bands like Archspire, it is constant, it is dense, machine gun drums.
Blast beats.
Nonstop. 350 beats per minute. The signal never drops. Because the acoustic information is so dense and so rapid, the AI always has something new to latch onto in its short memory. It doesn't have time to drift. The speed actually stabilizes the hallucination.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So the sheer chaos of death metal is actually order.
To a neural net, yes. Silence is confusing. Constant, relentless noise is structure.
That is fantastic. So we have dueling clones, digital voice twins, live coders, and infinite death metal. This clearly isn't just a novelty act anymore. This is a whole new genre of performance.
It is, and it leads us to the future. Because right now, we are mostly seeing the AI in its tool phase, but the sources suggest we are moving rapidly to the actor phase.
The AI as a bandmate.
The sentient bandmate. The concept here is the intelligent instrument, or KAVI, that's co-adaptive audio-visual instrument.
Okay, what does that mean, co-adaptive?
It means the instrument listens to you, it learns from you, it tracks your muscle movement, your audio input, and it adapts. But here is the key, and this is the really interesting part. It doesn't just obey, it resists.
It resists. Why would I want an instrument that fights me? That sounds frustrating.
Think about a physical instrument. A guitar has resistance, right? The strings cut your fingers when you're learning. You have to fight the wood and the pickups to get the tone you want.
Yeah.
Digital instruments usually just do exactly what you tell them. They are perfectly obedient, which can make them
It's sterile.
predictable. Exactly. But a KV might surprise you. You might play a C major chord, and it might decide to shift the key to C minor. It might throw a glitch at you. It forces you to react. It forces you to improvise.
So it forces you to actually play rather than just trigger samples. It reintroduces the happy accident.
It makes the performance a dialogue rather than a monologue. It's a real partner.
And if we scale that dialogue up from one person to the entire audience, we get to the biofeedback loops. This DLR experiment, the unanswered question, sounds like the ultimate version of reading the room.
This is where the audience truly becomes the conductor. In this experiment, the audience wore wristbands tracking their heart rates. Cameras in the room tracked their facial emotions, boredom, excitement, confusion.
So if the crowd looks bored,
The AI remixes the orchestra live, on the fly. It changes the structure of the piece, the tempo, the instrumentation, all based on the room's collective biological state.
that is the sovereign stage in its purest form. The crowd's biology is literally writing the score in real time.
And imagine the future of VR concerts with this tech. Millions of fans logging in from around the world, and their collective heartbeats sync up to modulate the lighting or the tempo of the music. A global resonance.
It's mind-bending. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. If someone listening right now wants to do this, wants to become a sovereign conductor, what are the practicalities? Because you can't just rely on the venue's spotty Wi-Fi.
No, the sources are very, very clear on this. GPUs on site.
GPUs on site.
You cannot rely on the cloud for real-time performance, period.
Why not? The cloud is everywhere. It's powerful.
Latency and risk. The round trip to a server and back takes time, even if it's milliseconds. And in music, milliseconds matter. Plus, if the internet drops for half a second, your show is over. You need the brain in the room with you. You need a powerful laptop with a massive graphics card right there on the table.
And the sound check changes completely, right? It's not the same old routine.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just check 1, 2 anymore. You have to run a pre-mortem.
A pre-mortem, so you're rehearsing the failure.
Exactly. What happens if the AI freezes? What happens if the model starts hallucinating garbage audio? You need to practice the recovery. You need to know how to pivot if the digital brain has a stroke on stage. You need a plan B, C, and D.
That goes right back to the risk we talked about at the very start. And that, quote, the danger isn't the tool, it's letting someone else decide how you use it.
Right. If you're just pressing play on a perfectly generated track, you're replaceable. Anyone can do that. But if you are wrestling with a live neural net on stage, navigating its failures and its surprises in real time, that is virtuosity. That is something people will pay to see.
So we've covered so much. The history, the tragic story of Don Lewis. We've covered the philosophy of the floating signifier and the Euro Banknote. We've covered the neuroscience of the delta bands. We've seen the tech. But I want to circle back to where we started, the soul.
We spent years, decades, really asking if machines have souls. Can an AI write a soulful song?
And usually the answer is no, because it hasn't lived. It hasn't had his heart broken. It hasn't felt joy.
But this research, this whole movement, it flips the script entirely. It suggests that the soul was never in the creator and it was never in the machine.
It's in the social liveness.
It's in that delta band synchrony. It's in the feedback loop between the stage and the floor. The soul is that moment the crowd screams because the AI did something unpredictable and brilliant, and you, the human, you rode that wave. You caught it.
You caught the lightning in a bottle.
Precisely. The soul is an emergent property of the room. It's what happens between all the bodies in the space, connected by sound.
That is a powerful reframing. It stops us from worrying about whether the robot is real and starts us asking if the experience is real.
And the data says the experience is very, very real, biologically real.
So here's the final thought, the quote from the outline that really stuck with me. The next punk rock isn't in the studio. It's on stage with a laptop, a mic, and a crowd screaming for the ghost to sing.
I couldn't agree more. We are moving into an era of what you could call cybernetic jazz. It's messy, it's risky, and it's going to be very, very loud.
And for those of you listening who are ready to take that risk, who feel that pull to the stage, we have something for you.
February 1st.
Mark the date, February 1st.
Yeah.
We are launching a web app. But it's not just another generator. It's not just text to MP3.
No.
This is a tool designed from the ground up to allow you to perform.
It anchors the signifier.
It puts a controller in your hand. We aren't just giving you the song. We are giving you the ability to make it scream.
The ability to play it live.
So get your GPUs ready, get your concepts ready, because the ghost is waiting for a conductor.
And the world is ready to hear you.
That's it for this deep dive. Go make some noise.
Play it live.